Hello, I'm Cecilia. This is a presentation to briefly introduce my report for you. The main purpose of this paper is to do a research about Brazil for Carrefour Group, which would like to know how to target and expand Brazil market. There are three main parts of this paper. The first main part is the introduction and analysis of Brazil. Within this part, the first section is a brief introduction of geography, demography, natural resources, and transportation situation of Brazil. In the second section, the political system of Brazil would be discussed. In the third section, I focus on the economic sector of Brazil. There are 5 aspects: historical and current economic situation, trade relationship and association memberships, leading companies, tax structure, and monetary system. In the country introduction and analysis parts, the legal and physical infrastructure, intellectual and research infrastructure, culture and linguistic value, and the country ranking and the Porter's national competitive statement will be also mentioned and talked about. In the next part of this paper, Carrefour Group would be introduced and analyzed. The operation states, competing companies, customer analysis, supplier issues will be all show up in this part. After that, I will integrate all the information I have got to achieve a reasonable conclusion, and I will give my own recommendations to Carrefour Group about the further development in Brazil. Now let's start from the country analysis. The Federative Republic of Brazil, which also known as Brazil, located in South America. It is the largest country of Latin America, and it's the world's 5th largest country. Brazil is a coastal country which is bounded by the Atlantic Ocean on the east. Brazil borders all other South American countries only except Ecuador and Chile. The independence of Brazil was achieved in 1822, and in 1899 the country became a presidential republic. Brasilia, which locates in the Central West region, is the capital of Brazil. The official language of Brazil is Portuguese, which is spoken by more than 99% population. Overall, the Brazilians are very proud of their varied culture, delicious food, amazing music, and they would like to introduce their rich culture to foreign visitors and businessmen. Now, I would like to use the Porter's National Competitive Diamond to integrate all the information of Brazil. In the first place, Brazil owns the key factors to develop retail industry, especially its sales format Carrefour Group. The climate and natural resources in Brazil makes the country become a wonderful place to grow crops and livestock. Carrefour Group would be happy to work with the local farmers and offer fresh food for Brazilians. In the second place, the domestic demands in Brazil is keeping increasing in the past few years, and is expected to maintain this trend in the future. The buyer power of the consumer base in Brazil also matches the needs of Carrefour Group. These middle-class consumers are the primary customers of Carrefour Group in Brazil. Furthermore, considering the relating and supporting industries, Brazil is a great market for Carrefour Group. The agriculture is well developed in Brazil and the agribusiness contributes a lot of GDP. Because the economic partly depends on the manufacturing industry, the retail would not hard to find suppliers from local producers. Last but not least, the competition of retail industry in Brazil must be intense. Since as we talked before, Brazil is a great place to operate a retail store. However, the operation concept of Carrefour Group, which will be discussed in detail in the next part, give it competitive advantage to success in Brazil. Now let's turn to the company analysis. Carrefour Group was established in last century 15th. The first Carrefour store was in suburb of France. In 16th, Carrefour Group introduced a new commercial concept and business model, the hypermarket. A hypermarket is a typical business model which focuses on high volume and low margin sales. Moreover, the Carrefour Group was the first to open a hypermarket, a large supermarket and department stores in one building in Europe. The business model was successful and the Carrefour Group is the largest retailer in Europe and the second largest retailer in the world. The main store formats that Carrefour Group operates are Carrefour Planet for hypermarket, Carrefour Market for supermarket, Carrefour Express, Carrefour City, and Carrefour Contact for convenience store. In the past 14 years, Carrefour Group has reached over 13 countries and ran more than 10,000 stores. The mission of Carrefour Group is to satisfy each and every customer expectation with professional and to offer the best possible price for high-quality products and service. As an international retail brand, Carrefour Group does not only pursue commercial profits, but also pays much attention on safe environment and takes other social responsibilities. In 2010, the sales of Carrefour Group was €90,000, which grew by 5.5%, and the sales was mainly driven by emerging market. In the financial reports, the markets of Carrefour Group has been divided into 5 major parts: France, Europe, Latin American, Asia, and hard discount. Latin American accounts for around 15% of total net sales in 2010. In Latin America, there are 1,151 Carrefour stores, including hypermarkets, supermarkets, hard discount stores, and other stores. As the first Carrefour store established in Brazil in 1975, Brazil has already become an important international market to Carrefour Group, especially in Latin America. In 2010, because of flourishing economy, sales in Brazil jumped 14% and the constant exchange rate, thanks to volume increase and an average price of items sold. Moreover, e-commerce, a new format which was introduced to Brazil in March 2010, generated earnings that were much higher than expected. To conclude, the retail market in Brazil is mature and ready to face the world's second largest retailer, Carrefour Group. Actually, Carrefour Group has already entered Brazil market more than 25 years ago. With the rapid economic development, Brazil has become an important to Carrefour in Latin America and even worldwide. After the financial crisis, Brazil's economy shows strong return and increase, and the domestic demand seems to be a great potential market right now. The coincidence is that the most domestic demands, which are led by middle class, could be satisfied by Carrefour. Carrefour operates hypermarkets, which sell food, life requirements, electrical equipment, and other thousands of products in the same place. This format would be great, convenient Brazilians and let them become loyal consumers of Carrefour Group. Please see the report to know more specific information. Thank you for listening.